I met Glenn on my very first visit to Midland, Texas ever. My wife and I had come to Midland to interview for a job, and we ended up staying at Glenn and Luann's home. And that was 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago. I can honestly say that Glenn is one of the most influential people in my life. He has been mentor and teacher, friend, advisor, confidant, prayer partner.
This question in advance, and it made me think of some things that I hadn't thought of in many years. I was a child of the 40s and World War II, and I can remember some of my earliest memories are saving money and trying to put together enough money to buy a war bond. Now, obviously, my parents had to help me out because the minimum war bond, I think, was $25, and it took a lot of my allowance and a lot of weeks and a lot of other things to come together, but that was a goal. And then post-World War II came the polio epidemic and the March of Dimes, and as a child in school, we would collect our dimes. They would pass the cans around in the movie theaters and at school so that we could collect dimes for the March of Dimes for polio. And I think that was instrumental in making me want to be giving for the benefit of others.
He's helped us in a million different ways. He's been a longtime member of the Board of Governors, which is the body that runs our foundation and makes it possible to get philanthropic support for the hospital. He's given, obviously, personally. He has been, as you all, as I think is well known, he's been the chairman and a leading board member of the FMH Foundation since its founding. He was a great lifelong friend of Marie Hall and has really, I think, taken very personally her legacy of giving and philanthropic support for medical and other functions in the community, and really taken that to heart.
I first met Dr. Rogers when he joined the Midland College Foundation Board in 2001. Glenn served on that board for 19 years, and a large number of those years was as the vice president. During that time, Glenn also served on the Davidson Distinguished Lecture Series Committee, and while he served, he realized that an additional funding source was needed, and he recommended Friends of the Series, and that subscription service remains here today and helps bring in lecturers and performers to the Permian Basin with no charge to the attendees.
I would like to thank the professional fundraisers for the opportunity for me to have this award. I appreciate it very much. I never thought of myself as a philanthropist. For me, philanthropy was always giving substantial sums of monies to colleges, universities, hospitals, all for the benefit of others. And Midland is certainly full of those kinds of people, but I never put myself in that category. It was interesting that I looked at Google to see what it said about philanthropy, and that's when I found that the first reference to philanthropy was in the 5th century BC, when a Greek poet playwright named Aeschylus first used that term, and it had to do with love of humanity. The article went on to say that as time went by, it's come to mean generous giving of your time and your talent and your treasure for the benefit of others. And I think I'm very comfortable with that definition.
Yeah, I think Midland is a better place because Glenn personifies what servant leadership really is. He is generous of spirit, kind, respectful, a person of integrity, but he really knows what it means to lead with energy, intelligence, imagination, and love.
I would describe Dr. Rogers as a quiet philanthropist. He doesn't do it for the accolades or the recognition. He is caring, he's thoughtful, he's the perfect description of a servant leader. When Dr. Rogers found out that he had been given this award, he said he was only going to accept it because he wanted people to know that philanthropists were, everyday people too, not just CEOs of oil companies. And I think it's true. It's that there's philanthropists in each one of us, but Dr. Rogers has, without a doubt, served this community and given back in so many numerous ways, and I can't think of a better person to honor with Philanthropist of the Year.
The Black and Arnold family are beyond deserving of this award. They're ones that don't like the spotlight, certainly, but they have given so much of their time and their gifts to this community, and it's just an incredible opportunity to really just say thank you and honor them for their philanthropic hearts and their service.
I think it's important because we need to show others that we care and that we're willing to share, and I want my family, my grandchildren, my children to know that we have to help others, and it's not only about us.
And it's a model for us to show, like the younger people, that this is what we do.
Philanthropy is something that I do because I'm blessed with time to serve the younger generation coming up. It's something that we're talking about the next generation doing. I hope my children are watching us as examples, and they're serving along with us, especially when they're little. They don't realize it, but they're serving with my husband and I when they're cutting out memory verse cards or whatever that we're doing, going to the food bank, going to South Elementary with West Texas Food Bank on a summer morning, handing out food, whatever. So I'm hoping that they will see that this is something that they do in their life in order to give back and to share Christ with the community as a whole.
The need is so great in Midland and everywhere. There's there's people who are hungry. There's organizations that help the elderly, like Manor Park, that we're involved with. I benefited from people's generosity as a kid growing up in Midland. Through Young Life, I know that was very important to me as a kid, and I know some of the families that supported that, and I got to benefit directly.
Yeah, the Black family is a major partner in the Young Life building that we have here in Midland, and it's a flag in the ground, and it's something that people can come to and experience Jesus and be a kid, and it wouldn't be there without people like the Black family.
Specifically, Brandon has started a volunteer role with Young Life Capernaum and helps lead a Bible study of a group of about 7 guys. And so that's been a huge, it's been a lot of fun to hang out with him every week and just you just get to see like his heart for kids. And then obviously he's spending time, they're spending money to help Young Life operate in Midland and providing places for us to go to camp.
Well, I know best what the benefit that Midland Memorial Foundation and our hospital have realized, and that's, they were one of the major givers that made the Scarborough Tower possible, transforming inpatient care from a really antiquated and broken down old facility to what is really state-of-the-art healthcare here in Midland. And it wouldn't have been possible without gifts from the Black family and others like them who followed their lead in a lot of ways.
So Cindy and Mike Black, like I said, I got to know them 15 plus years ago, and now seeing, just the way their children lead and serve this community the way they do, and now their children, so that their grandchildren, I mean the heart for service and helping others, they've passed it down to the next generation, and they're doing, they've done such a great job.
I think we're generous. I think I've watched my folks and my sister and her family, and we've always tried to play a little bit under the radar, but as we've kind of grown in leadership in the community, it's evolved to where we think it is important to show some leadership philanthropically, as long as your heart's in the right place and you're not doing it for recognition, but to show an example for others and to encourage others to give as well.
What the Black family has contributed to the Permian Basin, well, it's a little hard to tell because they are so low-key and so understated and unassuming. But the business that I'm in, our business is to support things in the community and to know who else is supporting things in the community. And I find their fingerprints and signs of them all over this community for a long time. A lot of time that I didn't know about and a lot of us don't know about. So this award is certainly deserved.
The Maybe Foundation definitely deserves an award like this because what they have done over the years is simply amazing. Really funding $1.5 billion across communities. That's across 6 states for construction projects and major medical equipment. They have really changed communities and just thinking about the citizens where they've changed lives.
The foundation was started by J.E., John, and L.E., Lottie Maybe, in 1948. And we don't have a record of exactly why they chose to do it, but they were engaged in philanthropy before that. I also think they had an eye towards looking out for their legacy, and they had no children, and I think it was their intention that the money and estate they had created would go on philanthropically past their death, and I think they saw the foundation as a way to carry that on.
I would say that our vision and our goal is to give in a meaningful way that impacts organizations that are making an impact on their community, that are truly helping people change their lives, to change the trajectory, for instance, of a young child's life from one of little to no chance of success to one where he or she has the ability to be successful and on their own very productive and meaningful lives.
Well, in our organization, Midland Health, my primary organization, is a partner in the creation of the Behavioral Health Center, and so a big part of our work has been raising the money to build it. We had some state funding, but we really needed a solid philanthropic support. And the Maybe Foundation gift is the single biggest gift we've gotten. So it not only is meaningful on its own, but it also helps draw other people to give to support the facility. So it's made a huge difference for us.
So the Maybe Foundation has actually been incredibly instrumental in High Sky Children's Ranch history. In the 70s, they were actually part of building one of our first administration homes on campus. In the late 80s and 90s, they actually built us a new playground, recreational center, and a community home to use for our children and families. And in 2017, we launched a new capital campaign to build a new admin building, emergency shelter, and therapeutic services building. And they were a lead giver in that campaign. And just recently this year, honoring their 75th anniversary, they chose High Sky Children's Ranch to receive an unsolicited grant of $500,000 to continue to operate and maintain the many facilities we have on campus.
I think we've had impact with the nonprofits just on a broad spectrum in those 6 states. We see the need for effective buildings, and not just the exciting buildings. We see the need for warehouses and offices and storage, in addition to the spaces where programs actually happen. And I think that our focus on that has helped nonprofits create their own infrastructure that has allowed them to succeed and to thrive.
Well, I was born here, and so I became involved in the Permian Basin just by birth, I think, originally. But on a more serious note, as I got older and learned of the different needs in the community, actually it was through my exposure to the Maybe Foundation, that association with our family, to know that we've been giving a lot. But also it is just part, I think, of the Christian faith, is to know that you are obligated, since what we have are in fact God's gifts to us, that we have a responsibility to not only steward those well, but to also help others.
The Maybe Foundation's unwavering commitment to High Sky Children's Ranch has played a pivotal role in our history, transforming not only the landscape of our campus, but the lives of countless children in our communities.
Maybe Foundation has, of course, been in the Permian Basin for a long time, but they bolster our community, and they really remind all of us we can all really make a difference where we live. And just investing in our community and really showing the importance of being part of the solution of any type of an issue is so important. I think a big foundation really rolling up their sleeves like the Maybe Foundation does and getting involved should remind every individual
this matters, this is important, and we should all be part of that.
Endeavor is one of the largest privately held oil and gas companies here in our community, and they've been a long-term partner for philanthropy of various kinds in our community. But the vision of Endeavor and the current leadership is that they continue to contribute well to Midland. And so we're thankful to have them as part of our community, and we see the evidence of their contribution all around us.
Endeavor impacts Midland and the Permian Basin through time, treasure, and talent. We fuel the community forward by hearing what the needs are from nonprofits that we serve and meeting them.
Endeavor's been a longtime supporter of High Sky. They have supported us with volunteers, with monetary donations, with advocacy and support here in the community. They have been giving to us for over 10 years, and this year, as part of their Community Impact Initiative, they selected High Sky as one of their beneficiaries. And in the spring, they sent out about 200 plus volunteers for 8 hours. The impact they made saved us, weeks of manpower, labor, and tens of thousands of dollars. And with that, they also gifted us a very considerable donation.
By far, my favorite is our service projects. We do a few a year, and we try to change what we do each year to reach as many people in the community as we can and engage as many of our employee interests as we can. So we've thrown a very extravagant, exciting wish send-off for a Wish Kid with Make-A-Wish, where they did a scavenger hunt all through our buildings, plural, and we ended up in the park downtown for a big send-off pizza party with soccer, because that's all the things he loves. We've cleaned the High Sky campus with more than 200 people in a day. We've built houses, foundation to finish, with Midland Habitat for Humanity.
So we have a fun relationship with Endeavor. It started a couple years ago, and I knew that almost immediately it was a very special relationship. So the first year they came and worked with us on the work site, they didn't just build one afternoon or on one house. They built an entire cul-de-sac, basically. They worked on 6 different houses. They were there for a full week, and they brought like 200 people out there, and so I think that really spoke to me, their heart for service in the community. And so since then it's grown a lot. So at Habitat we say that we need land, money, and volunteers to do what we do. That's kind of the Habitat Triple Crown, and Endeavor is one of only 2 companies locally that have done all 3 of those things. So they've given us a large, impactful tract of land. They've committed financially year over year to help us build houses, and then over the past few years they've probably brought 500 or 600 people to work year over year on our work site, which is a really, really big deal.
Over the last year or so, we've watched Endeavor's contribution to the city of Midland ramp up. And so they've participated in planting flowers at parks and painting various things at the stadium and other parts of Midland. They've walked dogs at our animal shelter and done all sorts of things to contribute to the well-being of our community. And so their participation here is no surprise to me.
And I think they have a really good reputation of trying to be extremely intentional. They're not just throwing money at random causes. They're not just sending their people to random places. They want to make sure that their investment is meaningful in a lot of ways. And so I've seen that, I've heard about it.
So Endeavor not only supports High Sky in such an outstanding capacity, but all nonprofits and other local causes. They are a part of the Permian Strategic Partnership that is focused on bettering Midland and the Permian Basin for its citizens. The work they're doing today is not just to improve our present, but to have a lasting impact on generations to come.
I think, when folks ask me about Endeavor's impact, we couldn't do it without our employees. They are the heart behind it. They make it happen. They show up in those big numbers. Really, the heart behind our community impact is our team, where they volunteer, where they're serving on boards. Their willingness to show up in large numbers to service events, they're the reason we can make such an impact.
Well, the first time I met Steve was actually probably about 15 years ago. We were doing an event in Houston. It was an event with Bush Clinton for serving for tsunami relief. And at that time, Steve was working for Dr. Phil, and we produced an event with Andy Roddick and Anna Kournikova and John McEnroe as a relief effort for the tsunami.
What I learned through Steve was firsthand that he used some fundraising principles that I think are worth mentioning. Steve was real intentional about setting one-to-one meetings with funders and corporations and even individuals to tell a story about what he was doing. And if you know Steve Davidson, any conversation from 5 to 10 minutes will probably last 30 to an hour because he was very passionate about what he was doing.
Steve has devoted his life to philanthropy. His family had the Davidson Family Foundation, and he grew up around giving and fundraising and charitable endeavors. He helped distribute the funds when the foundation was sunsetted. That includes the Midland College Davidson Lecture Series that we all benefit from every year, and they gave money to Casa de Amigos. He's also worked over the years for the Dr. Phil Foundation, for the Meadows Foundation, and raised money not once but twice for the Opportunity Park. And the new one bears his son's name, Chris Davidson Opportunity Park.
Chris was my wife Jan and I's little boy. He was diagnosed with several things when he was born, but the primary thing that I think motivated us the most, Chris got diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when he was age 8. At that point in time, and not just in Midland, but in most cities, they didn't have parks that were equipped for kids like Chris to go and play in. So we got the idea from Scottish Rite Hospital in Dallas, to build one in Midland. And so we did that, and in true Midland fashion, we raised a whole $650,000 in 90 days, which I thought was an immense amount of money, and created Opportunity Park. It was supposed to be named Opportunity Park, and we broke ground in November of '88. Chris died the following February, and then the Midland Association of Retarded Citizens, made the decision to name the park in Chris's memory. It helps us remember him, but it helps us remember the blessings that he gave us in spite of the difficulties of his young life. And in essence, woke us up and said, there's another world out there and need for you to get involved in it.
Steve is the consummate fundraiser and is always fundraising, and he seeks to leave this world a better place than he found it. And in my mind, I can't think of somebody that was more deserving of the volunteer fundraiser than Steve Davidson.
Steve has helped our organization just by his level of expertise, his commitment to the folks of the Permian Basin, to our project, and his vision of really seeing a 35-acre campus come to fruition at Bush Tennis Center.
I think that every day that families with special needs children that walk through the doors of the park, and these kids are able to have fun and just to be kids and participate in outdoor activities in a space that was built with them in mind and their needs, that makes a difference every day in those kids, in the children's lives. And that's incredible. That's incredible.
But I think philanthropy is the lifeblood of this country. I think it's the lifeblood of our community, of the organizations, because if we don't share what we've been given, don't share what we've been blessed with, then, there's not anything really left. But I think it's something that, needs to be more ingrained in our culture, and help us realize that there's some people that just need a leg up. They just need a boost. I felt an obligation to take
the gifts, the talents, the resources, my energy, my enthusiasm, and in some way find the manner in which I could utilize the gifts and talents that I feel like I've been blessed with. And that's why I do it.
We do all the things you would think of. We volunteer, we fundraise dollars and items. We focus not only on our local community, but also on our global community. So we've helped a lot of local nonprofits and charities. Casa of West Texas, Casa de Amigos, PBS Kids, Keep Midland Beautiful. The list goes on, there's quite a lot of them. But we also have done a couple of particular projects, like we've raised items for the Jubilee Center every year, kind of around Halloween, Thanksgiving time, and a few other things, like, for example, some items for the Rainbow Room, and we actually made blankets for them one year, which was pretty fun. The girls really liked that. And we also like to focus on our global community. So we are part of Rotary, which is an international organization, and so they really encourage looking beyond just your borders, right? So we, last year actually, we helped fundraise some money for Ukrainian refugees, and we also have been helping a lot with Save the Children, which they're an organization that helps children who are in like natural disaster situations and help with education in certain countries and such. And also our students really care about the environment, so we're trying to raise money to help improve our environment in the world that we live in.
The biggest challenge that we have is finding enough volunteer opportunities for them. Every time that we post something for them to do, that list fills up really quickly. And I think that's a really great problem to have because we have so many needs in our community. It's just really encouraging to see the number of students that are interested and they're asking, what's next? When can we do more? What can we do? How can we help? And that's just something that you don't see every day, especially with adults. So when we see that with our youth, it's incredible.
So in my 9th grade year, that was the introduction of Interact Club at YWLA in general. And so I was really intrigued by the club because it had a huge mission. Not only did it want to help our local community, but our global community. So I really wanted to be a part of that. And over these last 3 years that I've been part of Interact Club, I've been able to hone my leadership skills, as well as be able to recognize the importance of service over self. Our freshman year, we were introduced to a new club that would focus on community service and international service. I was immediately drawn to the club and became an active member for that year. The next year, I decided I'm passionate about this enough to run for the co-vice president position. And the next year, I served as our co-VP. And by then, I realized this is what I want to do. This is what I'm strive to live my life by. And now I'm this year's active president.
Working with our executive board is an amazing experience, and I leave every single time just so energized because the girls are so excited about what they do, and it's just amazing to be sitting with them. I know I use the word amazing a lot, but it truly is an amazing experience just to see how organized they are. If you could sit in on their executive board meetings, you'd be surprised just how much they get done.
My first impression when I started the club was, these people mean business. This is what we're gonna do, and we have a mission and we have steps to do it. If we say we're gonna do something, we're gonna do all in our power to support that cause and accomplish that goal. When I was first introduced as a member of the executive board, it was, wow, there was so much behind the scenes that I didn't even know that was going on. It was like a slap in the face of, this is reality, this is the leadership position I need to take, and after seeing my growth over the past 2 years, I feel like I have grown as a leader.
So we actually have had really a lot of success with our program. When we started, we had just like 50 or so students, and now we have nearly 200. And part of that is our school is growing, so we're always able to add new students, and some of it is that success breeds success. So the more our students are seeing other students having a great time out in the community and having a lot of positive interactions, then they want to be a part of that.
One of the biggest things that we talk about is service above self. That's our motto. By involving them at such a young age, we're really cultivating that culture so that when we do have adults functioning in our community, that they really have that spirit already ingrained into them.
The students at my school, in my club, they honestly exemplify putting service over self, and they are people of action. They go out into the community all the time. We have like 3 events coming up this weekend, and they just do it because they love it. They do it because they want to help others. They don't do it because they're seeking to be recognized. They don't do it because they're trying to win an award. They just really want to help others. So I think that's probably why they deserve it.
So to me, philanthropy means to divert your resources and your time to help people who need it. And that's exactly what Interact does when we spend our time organizing these events and using our abilities to help our local community grow, and it's really something beautiful to see.
I first met Mindy through the Junior League of Midland. She was my chairman on membership placement. We became closer as we served on more committees together.
She came to the Warren Charitable Foundation to talk about bringing the Family Hope Center to Midland, and Ann Warren and I met with her, and the more we heard about it, we were like, great, let's bring it. What do we need to do to help you? And Mindy was very intentional in setting up a trip to Dallas so we could see a few of the other Family Hope Centers and understand that a Family Hope Center is not a cut and paste. It's very unique to the community that it serves. So through her planning and us visiting those other centers, we realized it was going to look a lot different in Midland. It was going to be exactly what Midland needed to help these families grow and learn, and that parents be better parents and the kids be better equipped to succeed in school. So it was just very exciting, and we really appreciated that trip. And then we came back and we were ready to hit the ground running, and she made it very simple, and she kept us informed along the way, and again making us feel, and because we were with a partner with her, not just a funder.
On a personal level, I think has been a very, not just been someone great to work alongside with, but been truly a mentor, and not only helping with my success of like in my role, but also West Texas region. Mindy serves in all 3, Lubbock, Midland, and Amarillo, and covers all 3 locations. And she's just been an instrumental person in the success of all of our West Texas locations.
As the child of a teacher, Mindy wakes up every day wanting to make her community a better place. Mindy is the first person to send in grant applications and accompanying paperwork. She's also the first person to send a handwritten thank you note for each and every grant. And for that reason, I think Mindy is very deserving of the Outstanding Fundraising Professional Award.
I enjoy the people. That's what I enjoy. I never would have dreamed that this is what I would be doing. It kind of evolved into this over time after working in the event world and fundraising in kind of some other different ways, but it has been a really cool experience to get to work directly with, individuals, churches, businesses, foundations, and developing those relationships and really seeing people's passions about the place where we live and the people that we work with, and getting to help more people that are in need.
So when we were getting this building ready, there was a sign up in the front that we weren't really sure, like, who do we contact? What do we need to do? We were trying to can we put the Buckner name? And it just came to my mind that Mindy was so quick to be like, okay, hold on, I just saw this person, let me see who I can call. But I think that's just how it's working with Mindy. It's just, who do I connect you? Okay, I can do this, and nonstop, or just, I just feel like she knows the community better than anyone else. And so we had struggled so much to figure out what we were gonna do with that sign, and she's the one that was like able to get us answers.
Mindy is a true gem. Everyone needs someone like Mindy in their life. She just takes the reins on everything and just does everything and executes everything flawlessly. If we had more people like Mindy, we wouldn't have a problem with volunteers in our community, because she just is able to commit and just follow through and do everything perfectly.
One of the first things that I noticed when working with Mindy is that I felt like a friend. I didn't feel like someone that worked for a foundation that she was building a relationship with for funding. I felt that we had this connection, we both cared about the families in Midland, and we continue to have that relationship today.
I think it's a funny thing because a lot of people say, I could never do that. And it isn't for everybody, but I love it because it really is connecting people with things that are so important to them and listening to the things that are important to them, and then being able to say, look at this work that you're helping to contribute to. Look at these, we couldn't do it without partnerships, without the people, without the desires of people in the community to help, specifically for us, children and families that are in need. And so when you see the results of that, when you see families' lives that are transformed, when you see children's lives that are transformed, that's the part that makes you keep getting up and doing that.
It seems these days like our world is spinning faster, that the news is so heavy, that there's so much going on. We need to hear the positive. We need to see the positive. We need to see and read the hope and the good, and the Odessan magazine highlights that for us.
For 60 years now, the Odessan magazine has been covering all community activities in Odessa. Whether it's a nonprofit having an event, whether it's a company wanting to talk about their business, it's someone having a baby or someone getting married. People like to read about themselves and what's happening in their neighbors, and that's how the Odessan magazine was started back in 1964. We are the proud 5th owners of this magazine. We purchased the magazine in 1999. I have a background in journalism and had read the Odessan magazine as growing up as a teenager. And so when it became available, my husband and I decided to take a leap of faith, and we both have full-time jobs that we're very involved with, so this is our midnight job. But it is just absolutely what it is. The Odessan magazine, 100% local. It is put together here, it is printed here, it is sold here, it is distributed here, and we reinvest back into the community.
When I look at the way we get our story told, either through the nonprofits I'm associated with or the boards that I serve on, it's always nice to have a media outlet who is so willing and easy to work with, who will help you tell your story.
The benefit of the Odessan magazine and the benefit that it's had across West Texas and Odessa and the Permian Basin is so evident because they showcase the hard work of nonprofits. They showcase the good in our community, and that provides hope. That gives people a sense of belonging. That increases our feeling of community, and I think it inspires so much other goodwill, good work, and so much other volunteerism. It inspires other people to get involved, to have a positive impact.
Anyone who spends some time with me, it's pretty evident. I'm very passionate about Odessa. I'm proud of our community. We have so much opportunity. The Odessan magazine allows me, in a creative way, to be able to show off what's happening in our community. And I think we're the best place to live, no doubt, hands down. And it gives me an opportunity to show our community off.
Well, you know, today we spend so much of our lives on our phone, and probably the majority of you spend that time on social media. And you look at a publication like the Odessan that was the original social media, they have used their voice to improve the community. They get the word out about different programs and different opportunities in the Permian Basin. They get the word out about different happenings around town and how you can be more involved. And you flip through the Odessan, and it really is like scrolling through your favorite social media. You're looking at your friends, you're looking at familiar faces, you're looking at the people who are involved in our community and those who spend their time bettering the community. So it has had the impact of, again, telling the story about how you too can get involved, join your friends, and you might wind up in a beautiful publication like the Odessan.
Renee Earls could do a lot of things. She doesn't, in my view, have to operate the Odessan magazine. She operates it and owns it and continues to publish it because she chooses to. She has made a commitment to our community to West Texas to be a beacon of hope, to highlight the positive, to be a megaphone for the good. I think it could have been easy to pack up shop or to retire it, or, to maybe not make such a steadfast commitment to it, to continue it here in Odessa and West Texas. And I think that's a testament to Renee. She doesn't have to continue to do the hard work, to write, to piece together, to publish a local magazine. She chooses to because she believes in West Texas and she wants to continue to highlight the good to inspire others. And I think that is incredible.
Lorraine possesses a remarkable ability to listen to people from different perspectives and be able to bring people together to work towards a common goal, all for the betterment of our community.
When I was growing up, my father was actually the first chair of TxDOT. He was a member of the Highway Commission. And one of the projects he worked on was getting 191 built. And to do that, he needed some more information. And so he went to the head engineer at the state and said, we need some safety numbers and we need to figure out, there's got to be a better way to do this. And the other person he called was Ray Perryman.
I would describe Lorraine and Ray as very smart, very friendly, very determined, because when they get on a project, it's going to be done right. I've learned through the years that whenever Lorraine calls and said, Craig, I need your help on this, you can't say no. And she always puts together a great team to work on a project, whether it's the Education Foundation in Odessa or the Wagner Noel Performing Arts Center or anything related to higher education through University of Texas Permian Basin, Odessa College, Texas Tech Health Science Center. Lorraine always is determined to do the best work and deliver a great project.
Ray and I have been married 31 years, and we were full-grown people when we got married and had careers. Well, yeah, there is that. So we each had independent careers and lives, and when we married, we had a philosophy about how we wanted to give back. We both come from backgrounds of faith, which guides everything that we do, and we think it is important to give back. We do traditional philanthropy of writing a check to the causes that we support, but we want to use and really leverage the talents and skills that we have to propel philanthropy, not just by giving a gift, but by giving philanthropy the tools and the information to raise the money that needs to be raised and accomplish the goal of philanthropy to change the world.
It's one thing to support the community financially, and I know they've done that. I think it's another thing when you give your time and your talent. With regard to Lorraine, serving as mayor of Odessa and in many other capacities on boards and committees, that takes a lot of effort. So she has been very, very community minded, and when I say that, Permian Basin minded. Ray, in a little bit different way, but he's also been extremely supportive of the Permian Basin and particularly in Odessa.
Something that is compelling to me is we got married during the oil bust, basically, when this area was not doing well at all. I mean, we literally came back from our honeymoon and started a big economic development initiative where we did a massive study, the largest that's ever been done for any community, of what it would mean and what things we could do to diversify and things that could help the economy. And those things were then she was mayor at the time, committees were formed, they were put into practice, things were done, it moved forward, and a lot of initiatives that helped define a lot of things in the area started right there, and we literally started that. I mean, the week we got back from our honeymoon, we started that.
They're very deserving of this award just because of everything that they do, mainly financial support, moral support, being present, being connected to everything that's going on, and being involved. This world we're living in now, sometimes it's easy not to be involved, to stand back, stay on the sidelines. Dr. Perryman and Lorraine do not do that. They get right out front and they get going and they move everything forward, and they're always pushing for us to be better.
A lot of our things start with, she has an idea, she's doing something wonderful for the world, and then here I come. Okay, check it.